Heyo everybody, Haku here for this week's live reaction or read through for Kubera, Season 3, episodes probably 3 through 5, because that will get us through the rest of The Return. I'm thinking 3 through 5 because, on the one hand, I don't want to read less than 3. And on the other hand, I am running really behind this week and also don't want to go for like an hour. Now, 3 chapters might take us an hour, but if they do, then it is what it is. I'm fine with that. I just don't want to do less than 3. Now that'll take us to the end of The Return, and moving into the future, I'm not going to divide things up by like chapter, arc, segment, title, whatever. I'm not going to divide things up like that. I'm just going to do as much as I can every single week. But this week, can't do as much. Can't do over an hour or anything, unless this ends up being over an hour, or maybe I can't stop myself. I don't know. You will know before I do, I guess. I don't know how long I'll end up going, but I don't want to do less than 3. I want to at least finish the return section of things. So we're at least doing these 3, and then I'll try to stop myself there, and we'll see if I can stop myself. And after each chapter, as usual, we'll read the blog post and all. But I think that's about it. Thank you everybody for, welcome back and everything. Yeah, I guess there's not much else to say. Let's actually read. So starting off, we have Hoti Shurya. I think we've saved everyone that we found. Did you contact the temple? And we've got Agwen and Lenny. Shess will save them, so just stay calm and wait, Lenny. And he's down at the seafloor. There's no one by the beach. Did they get pulled outside the barrier and can't come back inside? But if those kids got pulled all the way there, they're probably already. Now we have our title splash. Part 3, Episode 3, The Return Part 3. And he comes back up. Whether they get devoured by Shoras or drown, realistically, I should consider them already dead. What a shame. Hey, what are you doing over there? You're outside the barrier. You're not supposed to be out of it. You'll get in trouble from Mom. And we have the kids who's... I'll be real, I forgot their names already. Running around as kids. It has only been 1 week. I've only heard their names once, so forgive me. You guys... You can't come over here from there. You may be able to leave whenever you like, but you have to go way over there to get back in. The checkpoint. Of course, it's no problem for me to get to the checkpoint on my own. And I like this, how they're just chill. Like we saw at the very beginning with his introduction. Just Ron chilling out in the open ocean. But I like how they're just chilling, but he's so worried about them thinking they'll be dead, whereas they're worried about him like, oh man, now that you're out here, you're going to have to go all the way back. And again, we would assume it's a Gandharva Shura. Wow, it's a Shura. Yeah, it's very fishy. Hurry and run away. No, I have to take those kids with me. They look 5 or 6 years old at most. They won't be able to swim to shore. They might get tired and drown in the waves. For now, come out here, you guys. I can't take you with me if you're over there. What are you doing? Hurry up and go to the checkpoint. I wonder, you'll die over there. So we've got halves, we've got quarters and all, and these two would be eighths. But it's more like at least 25% means that you're a quarter, and at least 50% means that you're a half. So if you are at 12.5%, then in that case, are you just naturally stronger than a normal human? Do you not live twice? Do you not age half as quickly? But rather, instead of aging half as quickly, you just live a bit longer, maybe? Or it's like, you don't have all of the benefits or drawbacks of being a quarter, but you are a little bit different than pure human. I wonder, you would think that's maybe kind of the case. But then, you'll die over there. It's so frustrating not being able to speak human languages right, so he can't even communicate right now. Well, it looks like it'll be hard to get them to come over here voluntarily. First, I'd better start by persuading that Shura to go back where it came from. You're from the Gandharvas, aren't you? You'll regret it if you attack right now. I'm on kind of close terms with your king, although I look like a half-blood at the moment. It stops. I thought that there were almost no Shuras noticeably active since the god Chandra was summoned. I have no idea why on earth you're doing this, but I suggest you head back right now, before this gets out of hand. And it roars, so it's either not very intelligent or has a death wish. It just gets just smacked into the sky. And the reaction faces too. What's this? I thought that Gandharva was in a very tranquil state right now. Why is this guy in such an aggressive state that he can't even understand what I'm saying? And we see that he's not actually just like kicking his little feet, just treading water. He's actually standing on something to be halfway above the water here. And we see this, again, image of a bunch of Gandharva down at the bottom. He realizes. He goes flying up, and we see what seems to be crunching in blood. But I don't think I believe it that quickly. Okay, or maybe it is. He just tanked it or healed, but that is a bunch of blood from him. He did take some damage. We have a huge orb of light. It cracks, and we see all the destroyed Gandharva Shura. And he's performed the quick change. He's equipped his pink pajama suit and grabbed onto the kids. Something's wrong. It's not a problem with Gandharva. There's a problem with this planet. Misty Shore's water temple. Priest, there was a shock to the barrier just now. Are you okay? At least it was restored immediately. Priest? And we have Juan. My goodness, it must have shocked his body. I told him so many times that he could leave the barrier to us if it's too much for him. Why on earth is he so devoted to the city? If only Ron had even half of Huan's personality. Don't insult my nephew, punk. You're awake. I thought you were asleep. You can't insult him, even when I'm sleeping. Anyway, what's all the fuss about? Do you think I'd collapse after something like this? I'm still in my 70s. Why are you treating me like a living corpse? That's right. Take it easy, guys. Aside from his forgetfulness, incorrect calculations, and a slight lack of energy, he's still totally healthy. Ouch! Do you realize that you're hurting me the most? Try to understand. I know how it sounds, but she's just worried about you. Since you're the oldest among the top 100 magic rankings. Okay, so from the top 100, he's the oldest. Still up there. That's because a lot of them died during the Great Upheaval. Before the Great Upheaval, there were lots of sorcerers over 100 years old. Okay, that's interesting information to get too. Then again, in a world where, I guess halves can't really be sorcerers. In a world where quarters exist, being over 100 years old and, still a powerful sorcerer isn't that shocking. You and I know that, but to kids nowadays, it's all just stories about the past. I really wish Ron would hurry up and accept the position of priest so that everyone could relax. Ron, are you really going to work like this? And I like that we're setting up this struggle here, where he wants to still have his freedom and go on adventures and all of this, but in reality, there's a lot of people that are at unease because he won't just settle down. There are a lot of people who are having to worry about things that he could prevent from having to worry about things. A lot of people he could protect. You attacked so strongly that the body isn't worth a thing now. You should have left at least something behind so that we could restore it. Give me a break, would you? If I hadn't shot it right away, you'd be at the threshold of hell right about now. Hell? Hell? Man, you've sure grown up, huh? Now you're bragging just because your ranking's gone up a bit. I'm not bragging, forget it. I'll just pay you for the body. Would that make you happy? I don't need your money. Money doesn't solve everything, you know. You're the one who's getting upset over money. Ron, I think there are some Shuras near the barrier. Whatever, let's just head over to the checkpoint and rest for now. We can deal with Shuras outside the barrier later. That's true, but there seems to be a civilian in danger. You have good eyesight, so you might be able to see better than me. If you look carefully, you can barely see a Shura over there, right? Near there, Hoti Vayu. He takes off. Isn't it a bit dangerous to teleport from this distance? Plus, he didn't even take his bow with him. And I like, too, this might be showing growth on his part, too. Because things like teleportation, like that you have to plan out where you're going to land and everything, that was his weak point before. As somebody who just kind of, mentally does his calculations. By instinct, mostly. Okay, very cool stuff. I like that a lot. More of these characters. And two, I mentioned before, I like seeing more of like Shess and Lenny, even though we literally only got a panel of Lenny and Ogwyn. But I feel like Ogwyn really didn't get a lot of time on her own in season 1 or 2. She was mostly just used for Cossack and his development and the struggles that he was going through, things that he was thinking about. Not really a lot that was actually uniquely about her. And then Shess and Lenny we barely saw really in seasons 1 and 2. So I like getting a bit of Shess here. I like all of this stuff. And we're really spending a lot of time reintroducing Ron here. He's not just one of the main characters, but also one of the main characters we spent the most time with. And it's probably going to lead into Lee's and Cossack's return. I'm assuming that's what the return is about. I mean, it could just generally be about the series returning, but I think that it's going to be specifically Lee's and Cossack returning. So it's probably going to lead into that. And I like that we're setting up the conflict with there being people that are uneasy, people that are nervous, people that are anxious, people that don't feel as protected as they could feel because Ron won't settle down. And also it affects Rana too, where if Ron would settle down, then Rana would be able to pursue the things that she wants to pursue more, but she can't necessarily get all the time that she wants to have because of it too. So we're setting up this conflict for his character. But with that aside, let's go check out the Afterword really quick. Afterword for this one says, as I mentioned before, the characters' positions in Kubera Part 3 are quite different. This position can have many different meanings. Not only is their role in the story different, but the extent to which each character receives attention or plays an active part is also very different from Parts 1 and 2. I think that's good, but I also think, again, knowing that Part 3 is like 400 chapters long, I think those roles even then are going to change and fluctuate, and they're going to be more and less important at different points in time. But we have the link to the actual chapter. Then, who is Khan and who is Ten? Khan and Ten are identical twins, so they cannot be distinguished by appearance. However, since their personalities are not exactly the same, if you keep watching, there will be scenes where you can tell who's Khan and who's Ten. In the previous episode 2 of Part 3, they introduced themselves by saying no one would know, even if we said our names backwards. However, there is someone in their family who can figure it out like a ghost. They know, but they just pretend to be fooled. And now we have the level of cruelties depicted in a greatly distorted way in the illustrations. Scenes of bodily injury during combat are depicted in such a way that if you just skim through them, you might simply think, they must have gotten hurt a little. But if you look more closely, you can gauge just how severe the injuries are. The intention is to distort the imagery as much as possible to avoid issues regarding graphic content, while leaving room for viewers to guess what the scene would have looked like if it had been portrayed properly. Just as in the Kubera Part 3 trailer, where most people simply brushed it off as Lisa's fighting, but those who watch closely recognize exactly where and how severely the injuries work. I mean, this just seems like potentially he was just totally shredded but then regenerated. Or at least he was very, very injured and then regenerated. But also, because it is so vague, I know what Kurigam's getting at and all, but because it is so vague, you could also just see it as, because he's not human or anything, like, we don't know compared to a normal Shura injury, like how bad that actually is. Like, was he really not that injured? Like, he shook it off easily enough. And we have Chess's first offensive transcendental skill. Chess only showcased the not-so-aggressive transcendental skills in parts 1 and 2, but in part 3 he finally used an offensive transcendental skill. It looks pretty strong, yes. By the way, when might the name of this transcendental skill be revealed? Then laughing, will Ron really come here? Then the water temple looks blue from the outside, but I love the outfit. Teddy bear and followers. The interior isn't entirely blue. This side feels almost like a hot spring. As some of you may have guessed from the remark, you may leave the barrier to us. These 3 are all candidates for water element priests. They're standing by for Juan, the oldest priest. It's said that if the priest closes his eyes, as if asleep, the first thing they check is whether he's breathing and if his pulse is beating. Geez, so they are just really, like, treating him as incredibly old. Okay, so these 3 that we're seeing and getting introduced to are water priest candidates then. All right. Very good chapter, really fun stuff, and we still get to read 2 more, so let's go check out episode 4. We continue at the beach. We have splashing and thudding. We see all of the Gandharva there as Chess is fighting while protecting the kids. And, okay, so I brought it up in the Tower of God read-through, where I was like, the Naver images look so much cleaner, so much like crisper and clearer, like higher quality, higher fidelity than the Webtoons images. And then Pat Ariel said that he noticed it with Kubera as well. And it is kind of blurry because it's movement, he's attacking, but some like up at his leg, it's like, oh, this looks like normal motion blur. But then down here, like some of the stuff around like his head, it looks less like normal motion blur and more like the images just in a lower quality. But maybe that's just because of how, like, maybe that is how it's just made. Like, because maybe Kurigam drew it and then like made it blurry in order to like accentuate the motion blur. So this could be just a Kurigam thing. But, like, especially whichever of the twins this is, it's like a part of it is in lower quality. Because down here where his hand is and where the other twins' arms are, like, those lines look clear. And the slam sound effect looks clear. This up here where the kick is just looks like normal motion blur. But here around his head and this shoulder and this twin's head and arms and torso, it just looks like pixelated. It looks like low quality. It's so weird. And now we have roaring from a plant-looking one. I thought it looked too strange to be a Gandharva. It was covering itself in armor this whole time. Its true identity must be hidden on the inside. Who on earth could this guy be? Talking doesn't work and he just keeps attacking. Will I be able to find out if I tear that outer armor off him? I feel like with the Tarakashura being different, I feel like that's, and being so important to like Yuta and things going on in the main story, and even with like Kali and the sword and everything with Lee's, it makes me feel like the Tarakashura are going to be really important as, I mean, honestly, maybe the monsters or villains of the series or whatever. So it could just be, and because it seems like they can maybe take on things from other, like, is that something we've seen? Like, they've taken on different shapes, and I don't know if that can be caused or anything because of contact with other types of Shura. So is there a chance that it could be like some sort of almost disease spreading, like almost like a halo flood kind of thing, where the Tarakashura is kind of wearing the Gandharva Shura in a way? Thought it looked too strange to be a Gandharva. It was covering itself in armor this whole time. Its true identity must be hidden on the inside. Who on earth could this guy be? Talking doesn't work and he just keeps attacking. Will I be able to find out if I tear that outer armor off him? Wow, you're super strong. I bet you're even stronger than my dad. Nah, I don't think so. What do you mean? Our dad's a sorcerer. Then, bet you're even stronger than my dad? Nah, I don't think so. What do you mean? Our dad's a sorcerer, so it's just the two of them talking back and forth, of course, because he can't talk right now. He has his hands full, literally, and I don't think he brought the tablet with him. This guy may be strong, but this guy may be strong, but Dad's even stronger when he uses magic. Stupid, our dad's magic. Then, guys, he shows up. Huh? Dad? Just wait a bit longer. I'll save you soon. And he's like in the mouth. Eek! Bhavati Varana. And everything gets frozen. Ah, my feet. See? He's a sorcerer, but his magic's total garbage. You're right, his magic sucks. Ron Syrafe. Hagwin once showed me a picture of him. She said he was a genius with a magic ranking of 3rd place. Is that a genius? And it's like, he's a genius in his own way. Then the return part 4. You didn't do the calculations again, did you, Dad? I'm telling Mom. Hey, don't be like that. I was in a hurry just now. I'll do it properly now. I'll calculate it properly. The ice is melting. It could be dangerous if this continues. He seems like a dad trying to seem strong in front of his kids. But still, I'd better save him for now. Hoti Brahma. Okay, so he's creating something. And he makes a raft under Shess. Hoti Varana. And uses the water push to send them away. Is he trying to evacuate us? What's he going to do on his own? There's a huge flash of light. Hoti Indra Bhavati Varana. And then a nuke of lightning and ice. I see. Magic even quicker than spells. Such powerful magic. It's definitely remarkable for a human. He really is. But didn't that human also get hit just now? So again, instead of like doing crazy precise calculations, he just moved the bystanders out of the way and then hit the area with the spell. Ah, man, that hurt like hell. He falls into the water. Dad! And now we have a sunset shot. Some time has passed. So this is heaven. He gets up. Just stay still. Have you already forgotten what I said? You're not allowed to attack until you can remove yourself from the range of attacks. You agreed to only practice that spell at a weaker power level. Or do you remember or not? And it is impressive he used 2 Bhavati spells like back to back like that. I remember. Then, how could you use it with so much force? How can you use it so strongly when you know that you'll get hit too, huh? Start thinking about yourself too. You're not alone now. Sorry. All I could think of was saving the kids. Seriously? You haven't changed at all since the magic test. Don't just focus on the people that you want to save. Look around at the situation too. Shess could have protected the kids even without you doing that. And he's surprised. Shess? Huh? Who's that? Who the heck is that? You're seriously asking for a beating. He laughs. Stop messing around and sign here. I have to show it to Aline. What's that? I promise to perform my duties as the water priest until the time when Rim Syrafe enters kindergarten. Huh? Priest? What's this all of a sudden? Plus, what's this about until Rim goes to kindergarten? What's up with this specific time? Well, you see, that's what happened. I was really fine for the first 3. Since I was the one who wanted the kids, I raised Anne, Khan, and Ten all with love. He mentioned again the daughter that gets the allowance. So that's going to be Anne. And then we have Khan and Ten, and they mentioned a baby before. I didn't remember it being Rim. I thought it was like was it like Riri or something? So that might be a nickname for them. It's not like I had no desire to work, but still, I was happier while raising the kids. But Remy, okay, so it's not Rim, it's Remy. That makes more sense. That's what it was last time. Okay, so did I just misread up here? Yeah, okay, I didn't misread. It was Rim up here, but it's Rimi. It's not like I had no desire to work, but still, I was happier while raising the kids. But Rimi's different. I never thought that we would have a fourth child with such a big age difference between the other three. Rana, I keep resenting Rimi, even though I know that I shouldn't. After sending the other three kids to kindergarten, I was getting ready to go back to being a professor, but it makes me so angry that now I have to put it off again because of Rimi. It's not her fault. If anyone is at fault, it's you and me. Alright, I just have to sign here, right? It's just a job as a priest after all. Really? I thought you were wandering around this whole time because you didn't want to be a priest. On the surface, that's true. Whatever. How could I refuse when you're asking me like this? I think, again, it's good. Because he really needs to reassure everyone, but also he really needs to help Rana. Because it's either this or just go around doing stuff, but if it's at the cost of going around doing stuff and Rana can't do the things that she wants, when you could still kind of do what you want just as the priest, you know, just let the priest candidates handle the barrier when you're not doing it at the time. Just settle down a little bit, then it can allow, like, you could probably spend more time with your kids, but also allow Rana to keep doing what she wants. Well, I say keep doing what she wants, but go back to doing what she wants after she spent so much time away from it. Whatever. How could I refuse when you're asking me like this? And then we have, I heard from Ron Cyrefe. Oh yeah, did he finish the job? Then start by sending in the fragments he collected, and then, again, on the surface, he didn't want to become a priest, but he also had other goals other than just adventuring. But I still think, you know, your family's important, and Misty Shore is important, especially when there really aren't a lot of cities. There's not a lot going on Willarv. So it is important to protect all of that and to be around. Then start by sending the fragments that he collected, and then next time, I don't think we'll be able to give him another assignment. He says that he's a priest now. He's going to be working at the water temple, so he asked you to find someone else to run your errands. Huh? That arrogant little punk. How dare he refuse orders from a god? And we have to be continued. Okay, so we're seeing a little bit of Chandra, who doesn't look too different, which isn't super surprising. And same goes for Lila, except just not wearing the mask. But again, not looking incredibly different or anything. But again, in the situations that they are in, why would they look super different? That's, again, the thing. I keep saying again. But that I brought up before, it'll be cool to see the different looks, the different outfits, the different, like, ways that they can do their designs. But a lot of the important characters in Kubera don't really age. Some of them don't age that much, but some of them basically don't even age. So even if we've taken quite a few years for this time skip, it seems like it's decently long. Even if it has been decently long, still a lot of the characters wouldn't have changed that much. And a lot of the characters are in that area of adulthood where I feel like, you know, your appearance doesn't change all that crazy much anyway. But it's very cool to see. I have been really enjoying that aspect of getting back to things. I think the time skip has been so refreshing and fun, just getting reintroduced to people. And we have still, compared to all the characters we've had before, we have been reintroduced to just an incredibly small percent. So either way, let's go to the blog post. Blog post this time is, by now you can probably guess why I agonized over using Lee's for the part 3 thumbnail. I felt a bit awkward admitting out loud that Lee's wouldn't have much screen time in the beginning, so I just mentioned that I was debating the thumbnail and moved on. I know Lee's is like the main character, and I really love her, but I like that Kubera just has a big cast and we spend time with the other cast members. It feels like we always kind of have. Yet the fact is, quite a few of you realized, so Lee's won't be appearing for a while, as soon as I said that. Your deductive skills are... I love all the cute little stamps and stuff that Kurigami uses. Since I mentioned I agonized over the thumbnail, some of you were worried about Lisa's screen time in part 3, but Lisa actually has plenty of screen time, really a lot. It's just that she doesn't have much at the beginning. To be honest, I initially thought of using Ron for the part 3 thumbnail, I considered using Ron and then changing it later once Lee started appearing in earnest, but after anticipating all the controversies that would arise from doing that, I decided it'd be better to just go with Lee's from the start. The protagonist isn't even appearing right now, but please bear with it for the time being. If you haven't read, okay, and then a link to the webtoon. Then we see Calm Twins Part 2. Chess is naturally better at using his feet than his hands. I mean, you get the idea. Of course, even though his hands are weaker than his feet, they're still strong compared to a human's. Just think about how he sent that Shura flying in the last episode. If somebody were slapped in the face with that kind of power, his head would probably be blown off. If Chess were to forget for even a moment that he's holding those twins and carelessly apply some force to his hand, something terrible could happen. That just goes to show how hard Chess is fighting right now. It's like fighting with a lump of clay in each hand while trying not to leave any handprints on it. Then time has passed, but the way of speaking. This time, the Hotindra Bhavati Varana magic is just a taste, since, I guess he is still inexperienced and at the level where he needs to be nagged at by Rana. You can tell that there will be a separate scene where he uses it properly in the future. Ron swears a lot less than before, but he still isn't completely fixed. If he becomes a priestess or a priest like this, then Ron's expression while being nagged. In the past, Rana frequently hit Ron with books or used objects, but these days she doesn't go out of her way to find something to hit him with. No matter what she hits him with, Ron doesn't feel any pain. In fact, it's only Rana who gets more exhausted by swinging heavy objects. Actually, there's a meaning in itself if she just grabs a wad of paper and hits him hard without needing to look for something that hurts. Do you remember what Ron said somewhere in part 2? No matter how much I hit him, it doesn't hurt at all. So the conclusion's that Rana's cute. And then with this, the April Fool's Day theory about having 3 children's been proven wrong. We see the 4 of them. Okay. I guess was the theory that Remy was the one that was getting the allowance of that much, despite being a baby. But either way, I guess that's it for this, and we get one more chapter before we end, even though I've already been, recording a bit. Kubera chapters, usually they're not the shortest, and there's a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss, and we also do the blog post, but either way, I am having a lot of fun with this, and the last one titled The Return, so I would think we're getting, I don't know, this blog post is now having me question it. I would think that we're getting Lise and Cossack returning, but maybe we're not. We'll have to see. Let's go read chapter or episode 5. Though I guess we're starting on the line, I heard Ron is finally back. This is continuing the trend of the title of the chapters always having to do with more than one thing. So it's the return of the series because they talk like there was a at least somewhat significant break between season 2 and 3. So the return of the series, even if it was a short break for them, it would still be the return of the series. The return of Lise and Cossack, like on their way, like we saw at the beginning, on their way to coming back, and the return of Ron settling down in Misty Shore. And this is a really, really nice shot of the city. Did you hear about Ron? He's back in the city. Yeah, after staying away for so long. Didn't he run off to avoid his priestly duties? And I guess, we are spending all of this time in Misty Shore, and if Lise and Cossack were to return to Willarv, I mean, maybe they'll just happen to end up back in Misty Shore, but you'd think they'd actually end up over by Rintalo, right? Because that's where they left from. So you'd think that's maybe also where they would return to when they come back. Then, yeah, after staying away for so long, didn't he run off to avoid his priestly duties? I don't know. Apparently he agreed to take over the job as soon as he got back this time. Really? Weird. I bet someone threatened him with something. Or Lutz knocked some sense into him physically. I wish Lutz and Ron would switch places. God, what the hell are they blabbing on about? Cool it. Priesting will be difficult if you let every little comment stress you out. And crazy, weirdly modern looking clothes. I mean, we have modern looking clothes in Kubera, but it's just, this is maybe the most modern, the most normal we've looked. Was it like this for you when you were a priestess of Atera? Yep, everyone loved comparing me with Brilith. Everything from summoning ability to age, personality, looks. Yeah, exactly. On and on about my bloody face. No one knows what it's like to have people comparing you with your bloody good-looking brother for damn decades. Ron, all else aside, you can't talk like that anymore. There's a standard of propriety to maintain for a priest. Then, the return part 5. Shess says they might look like Gintarva Clan Shura, but they're not. And we see the vegan house. And I should tell you now, what we're about to talk about would normally be considered heresy. Heresy. Yes, the Shuras you fought, they were Taraka Clan Shura, and both of them are surprised. Where'd you learn that? I just happened to, ages ago. And I don't think it's all that hush-hush, really. Chandra talks about them openly. Chandra told you about them? I mean, I'm fine with him talking about them. The screwy part is when he tells me to go kill... I'm fine with him talking about them. The screwy part's when he tells me to go kill them. Then we have Rintalo Temple of Darkness. Ron refused your orders? Surely you meant to say Oracle, Chandra. Humans are free from any obligation to obey us. Don't talk like Shurya. It doesn't suit you. If you're going to nitpick, go back to your city. Why not stop playing client and start doing the work yourself? I've been hearing about this anonymous psycho who sets our life cost at 0. And we're seeing Agni for the first time. Again, doesn't look terribly different, just a bit of a more detailed art style. Even the ones who know it's you have their complaints. They just aren't talking. It's not as if I ever had a good reputation. They think I don't know what they're saying about me, but that's meaningless. Idiots. Let them regret it in hell. Mwahaha. Just being edgy. And then Agni just mocks him. I don't sound like that. Wasn't it a good imitation? Anyhow, I'll have to rely on other humans to collect the fragments. The risk is too great for me to do it personally. Afraid you might get eaten? You don't think you can handle what humans can manage on their own? No harm in being cautious. If by any chance they manage to eat me, the human casualties will be catastrophic. You should be careful as well, Agni. That's true. Even if Chandra could be a better fighter, they can still... I don't remember. Can they seal God Transcendentals as well, or just other Shura Transcendentals? Is it Transcendentals in general, so including gods? And if so, even if Chandra could be better off in a fight, they would still run into the problem of, like Chandra said, it's just too dangerous. If something crazy were to happen, like somebody helps the Taraka Shura and ambushes him or something, like anything that could happen where they are able to eat Chandra. And again, I guess I was right about them eating and absorbing like qualities from the Shura that they take out, which might be how they have been wearing the Gintarva that we saw. Like, if they do that with him, then humanity is really, really, really screwed. No need to worry. That reminds me, Gintarva. I've heard he took on a city-sized Shura form 7 years ago in Calibloom, but he couldn't do it in Rintalo. Transforming at Calibloom did him some serious damage. And it must have gotten worse during the Rintalo attack. That's why I stopped attacking and hid instead. We've talked about this before. The danger is if he gets eaten. It would be bad enough if either of us is consumed, but at least we're constrained by being in our summoned states. They can only run riot until our summoners reach their limit. It's different for Gintarva. He hasn't been summoned. I don't know where he's hiding, but we need to find him before he gets eaten. We need to find him and dispose of him. And now we see where he's at. Hey, did you hear me? Are you planning to stay there until the sun rises? We've got enough mushrooms. It's almost dinner time. We should get back. The chief will be mad if we're late. Okay. Yes. And we still have the small, I mean, even smaller looking, even more childish looking Gandharva, I guess. Let's head back. The return end, next chapter, another beginning. Okay, so weird that we're stopping calling it the return now. It feels like we still have more characters to return. And this tale looks familiar. Is this just some random new person? Or is this, who would have a tale like that? Pingata? But no, stuff happened with all of them. Things happened with all of them. I don't think they're with Gandharva and Marina. So I do not know at the moment. Maybe somebody knew. But either way, I guess that's where we end for the chapters. We got one more blog post, and yeah, let's go see what it is. Episode 5's blog post. Chapter titles are often ambiguous, and this chapter is no exception. Agwen returning to the misty shore of her dreams, Ron finally settling down after wandering only outside the city, or Gandharva and Lise trying to return somewhere else. Many were expecting Lise to appear soon, but if you look closely at what Lise says to Cossack at the end of Part 3, Episode 1, there is a hint. At the very least, you can guess that she won't appear in such a peaceful situation, if you haven't read Kubera Part 3, Episode 5 yet. Okay, so maybe they said something about not knowing where they'll come out at or end up at when they go through the portal. Maybe that's the deal. So, even if they're going through the portal at the end of Episode 1, it might be a while until, or maybe they just need to spend some time going through the portal itself. Like, even that'll take some while, or some bit of time. So, we'll see. Misty shores in the old town. Just as the city center and the outskirts of Seoul present completely different landscapes, the same is true for Misty Shore. Unlike the high-rise buildings in Episode 1 of Part 3, low-rise buildings make up the majority here. The scenery is also similar to Misty Shore in Part 1. Of course, please keep in mind that Misty Shore in Part 1 was quite rushed due to limitations in skill and time. Then we see the temple you will be tired of seeing from now on. Okay, so we are going to see a lot of this. A variety of temple backgrounds are available to keep things interesting. In particular, the more frequent a temple appears, the more backgrounds are prepared. Then we have evolved from Agnioppa to Agni-Uncle. Then Part 3, Brilith is 29 years old. You can consider Agni's appearance age to be roughly around that level as well. It's not exactly the same. And then even after becoming an older man, these SD cuts look similar. Just like how Yuta's SD cut looks like his second stage even in his third evolution. I offer these SD cuts as a small consolation for those who were disappointed by his older man appearance. Then it's been a while since I drew Gandharva in this form, and that's where we end. Wow. Okay. I will say, though, I prefer the older-looking Gandharva to the little kid Gandharva by, like, miles. I prefer it a lot. But either way, that's where we end for this week. Again, I'm just gonna chill, do a little bit each week. Probably not less than 3 chapters. But if 3 chapters take 45 minutes every time, then even 3 chapters might be kind of a big video. Either way, I definitely want to go and get this video actually made and produced for you all at some point. It's already almost 6 p.m., so I am running late at making this. So either way, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Like if you did like the video. Comment down there to tell me what you thought of this week's set of chapters, my first thoughts and reaction to them. Subscribe for more Kubera, much more on the channel. If you want to help support the channel by sharing around or dropping a super thanks, it's really appreciated. If you want to help support the channel by becoming a member or patron, you can hit join down below to become a member. Go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description. You'll get your name at the end of videos and get One Piece bingo a bit early too. And yeah, thank you to people who are already members and patrons. Thank you to chosen regulars Evan, Holly, and Bertie Booster, Magical Girls, Dee Ben, and Maru, Cheriton Student, David Langstaff, Slayer Candidates, SGN, Stan Cedar, and Pure Element, Paterial. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.